It is true indeed that we can count on the trees for the air we breathe. But is it only limited to the air? No, we can also count on it for many other things. And that's what we are going to learn about today. Welcome back to my channel guys, The Love for English. If you liked the music in the starting of this video, do check the link I've given in the description box below. It's a perfect song to be played on Tree Plantation Day or World Environment Day. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Today we are going to discuss about the poem Heart of a Tree written by Henry Cuyler Bunner. I hope this video will be beneficial for the ICSE class 9th and 10th students. So Henry Cuyler Bunner was born on August 3, 1855. He was a well-known novelist, journalist and a poet of his time. Not much is known about his personal life. He died on May 11, 1896 in Nutley, New Jersey at the age of 41. It's quite eerie how despite the fact that this poem was written about 150 years ago, it holds a great significance to this age when humans are relentless in the pursuit of everything luxurious, fancy and materialistic. The mankind's preference for an easy and wealthy lifestyle has led to a rapid increase in urbanization, population, pollution and deforestation. We have read quite a lot about these terms while studying geography. The funny thing is that all these terms are correlated and the burden of it comes down on trees. It has taken a toll on Mother Earth and it's for a selfishness that we are suffering today and leading our future generations to the same path of doom. It's high time we right our wrongs and better late than never we understand the value of trees. That's all for a brief introduction now. Let's begin with the line-by-line explanation of the poem. The poem comprises of 3 stanzas and each stanza starts with the same question. What does he plant who plants a tree? Through the repetition of this question, the poet is making use of a poetic device called hyperphora. This question is the heart of the poem and sets the tone for the subsequent lines. By asking this question, the poet is trying to engage the readers so that they themselves look for the answers to this simple question. However, that simple question's answer is not that simple. The poet answers his own question in the very next line and says, "The person who plants a tree plants a front of sun and sky." Now you may wonder, why is he calling the tree a friend of the sun and the sky? It's because the tree exists in a sort of a symbiotic relationship with the sun and the sky. Isn't that what friends are for? You give me something and in return you will gain something from me. The tree absorbs the scorching heat of the sun and in turn makes the sun more friendly and bearable. It helps in controlling global warming and in return the sun helps the tree to make their food through the process of photosynthesis. When a tree grows to its full form, it aims to touch the sky. It appears that it finally gets to meet his friend. The tree takes in the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere and releases oxygen that is important for our survival. In the next line, the poet says, he plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. He likens a tree to a flag. The way a flag flutters in the breeze, similarly, the leafy branches of a tree seems to sway with the breeze. It somehow reminds us of a line from the famous poem Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Can you guess which one? That's right. It's when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Coming back to this poem, now why is it called free? The word free might have 2 meanings here. It either symbolizes the spirit of freedom we feel in our hearts when we see a flag fluttering in the breeze, and it also can mean the breeze, which is the gift of trees we are getting it for free, contrary to fan and air conditioners, for which we need to pay out of our pockets. So why not enjoy the cool breeze that's free of cost? He then compares the stem of the tree to a pole, which when it grows to its full height appears to tower high and becomes an epitome of beauty. Here the word shaft means pole. He plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird. In hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony, these things he plants who plants a tree. The poet says, the person who plants a tree creates a home which is close to heaven. It is the home for the little birds who make their nest on it. If not for trees, imagine where they will seek shelter from heavy storms and rain. The man makes this home, and in return, they get to enjoy the melodious lullaby of Mother Bird, which she sings to put her baby birds to sleep. Here, the word croon means humming or singing in a sentimental manner. We mostly hear this humming during twilight. Twilight refers to the time of dusk when the sun finally sets and the birds return to their nest just as humans return home from their work. The twilight is described as hushed because that's the time when the day's activities ends, and happy because family members, whether it be animals, birds or humans, they finally get to reunite, meet and greet each other after a long day of tiring labor. So in these simple small snippets of daily life, in the sweet humming of birds, in the fluttering of leaves in the breeze, the man gets to seek the pleasure of heaven on earth. The poet thus implies that planting a tree is a heavenly and glorious deed, and it's by planting a tree we can add to the scenic, holistic, heavenly beauty of nature, making it our paradise, our heaven on earth. Now let's move on to the second stanza of the poem. The poet begins the second stanza by repeating the same question, but this time his answers are quite different. He says, the tree he plants provides us cool shade and tender rain. When a person, tired after a long day's work, or an animal after a long day of adventure, seeks few minutes of respite, they can get it under the cool shade of a tree. This tree, when it grows to its full form, besides providing us with cool shade, it also provides us with tender rain. We know an area dense with forest attracts rainfall, whereas a desert or a barren land sees a scarcity of rainfall or no rainfall at all. And this rain further helps the tree to produce a seed, from a seed to a sapling, from a sapling to a bud, which then blossoms into a flower and finally transforms into fruits, and soon the tree grows old and withers away, only for another tree to take its place, grown from its very own seed. The poet here is trying to show us the cycle of life and death, the way a year goes and a new year comes. Similarly, anything born is bound to die, but a tree is there to remain through its seeds, producing new trees. So the poet says, and seed and birds of days to be, and years that fade and flush again, he plants the glory of the plain. Thus, the poet implies that a person who plants a tree adds to the glory of the land by making it more green and beautiful. He plants the forest heritage, the harvest of a coming age, the joy that unborn eyes shall see. These things he plants who plants a tree. A tree planted today will turn into a forest someday. Thus, by planting a single tree, the man plants a forest heritage. Here, heritage means inheritance. This inheritance will then act as a harvest and will be passed down to the future generation so that they could reap its fruit and be joyful and thankful to us. Here, unborn eyes means our coming generation, which is yet to be born. Let's move on to the third stanza. The poet, as usual, begins the stanza with the same old but no less relevant question. What does he plant who plants a tree? And you guessed it correctly. He answers his own question again with some different, unexpected answers. The poet says, he plants in sap, in leaf and in wood, in love of home and loyalty, and far cast thought of civic good, his blessings on the neighborhood. The poet here mentions the three important parts of a tree: sap, leaf, and wood, each having its very own benefits, which are quite quintessential for mankind. So, in planting a tree, he plants a sap, leaf, and wood, and by doing so, he is depicting his love and loyalty not only towards his city but towards his nation as a whole. The way a child is duty bound to look after his parents, care for them the way they cared for him, similarly, it becomes his utmost responsibility to care for the trees, for the mother nature. And the poet mentions that the person who succeeds in doing so has a futuristic vision and can imagine how his one single act done today can do good to his society in future. So the man who readies himself to plant a tree and actually holds the sapling in the palm of his hand, metaphorically, he actually holds the blessings he is yet to shower on the neighborhood. The last four lines of the poem goes like this: who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of a land, a nation's growth from sea to sea, stirs in his heart who plants a tree. So the poet here is trying to tell us that by planting a tree, the man plays an important divine role in the growth of his nation. He takes the first step towards making his nation progress and flourish from sea to sea. The capitalization of his in the first line indicates that such a man is no ordinary man. Instead, he is godly, all powerful, and destiny maker of the nation. Such a man has this progressive thought of his nation's well being stirring in his heart, thus making the title of the poem all that more significant. And with this, Henry Cuyler Bunner ends the poem with the hope that keeping in mind the blessings a tree can bestow upon us, the mankind will take a step towards to plant a tree and make this earth a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. If you like this video, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.